Hello and welcome to this week's episode of your Wednesday dose of wealth wisdom with me, Daniel Kennedy. I'm just going to share this to my page and to the Wealth Dragon group so we can begin in earnest. This is going to be a bit of repeated content. I had a video that wasn't in the podcast that would welcome you when you stepped onto my page. So I'm basically going to elaborate on the subjects that I told, as well as giving you a deeper insight into the subjects as well. And I'm going to share with you a bit of a morning mantra that I have. That I read to myself, that I'm going to read to you. That I've taken from various places, different books, and like put it together. All right, that's shared, and let me start recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Wednesday dose of wealth wisdom with me, Daniel Kennedy, Wealth Dragon coach and CEO of the Wealth Dragon KML group, rather. One quick message. I'm going to share my morning mantra with you now, and it's something that gets me riled up and ready to seize the day. And it's borrowed from various places, different books, different authors and artists. So here it goes. There is nothing you cannot be. There's nothing you cannot do. There is nothing you cannot say or have. We are the most magnificent, the most splendid beings that life has ever created. But a lot of you do not know who you are, and you think you're a great deal less. But I tell you this, you are your own rule maker. You set the guidelines. You decide how well you are doing, how well you have done. For you are the one who decides who and what you really are and who you want to be. And you are the only one who can assess how well you're doing. And all you see in your world is the outcome of your idea about it. Do you want your life to truly take off? Life will take off for it then when you choose for it to. You've just got to make a choice, like just decide. Don't procrastinate, prolong, protract, or protest, or else you won't get and produce what you have been promised. You've got to decide what you're going to be, who you're going to be, just decide. Your world would not have been in its present condition where you'd have simply listened to your experience. The results of you not listening to your experience is that you keep reliving it over and over again. You cannot resist something to which you grant no reality. The act of resisting a thing is the act of granting it life. When you resist an energy or a thing, you place it there. When you fear it, it exists. If you believe a barrier is there, you resist it, the more you make it real. Whatever it is you're resisting, if you open your eyes to look at it, it disappears. That is, it ceases to hold its illusory form. If you look at something, truly look at it, you will see right through it, and right through any illusion that it holds for you, any barrier that's stopping you, leaving nothing but ultimate reality in your sight. In the face of ultimate reality, your puny fears hold no power. You see the truth of it, and the truth sets you free. Only when you say, I did this, can you find the power to change it. It is much easier to change what you are doing than to change what another is doing. The first step in changing anything is to know and accept that you have chosen it to be what it is. You are always in the process of creating every moment, every minute, every day. We are all big creation machines. We are literally turning out a new manifestation as fast as you can think. We really do paint our world with our thoughts and our level of self-belief. You consist of body, mind, and spirit, and need to look after all three. The process of creation starts with a thought, an idea, conception, visualization. There is nothing that you can't have. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Everything you see was once someone's idea. Nothing exists in your world that did not first exist as pure thought. If you have a clear picture in your head of something that it's going to happen, a clear belief that it will happen, it will. Thought is the first level of creation. Next comes the word. Everything you say is a thought expressed. It sends forth creative energy into the world, and people can bounce off it. Ideas can get formed. You don't need to hold anything. Sharing is growth. You can bounce off people's ideas. Ideas are formed. Action gets taken. And everybody wins. Selfless people grow. Selfish people shrink. Next comes action. Actions are words moving. Words are thoughts expressed. Thoughts are ideas formed. If you want something, have a higher vision of yourself. That is, imagine there's a person that you want to be, and always go first to your highest thought about yourself. Imagine that you would be if you lived, the person you would be if you lived that every day. Imagine what you would do, say, and respond to what others do and say. Every second of every day, you need to be daydreaming it. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. So, do you want life to truly take off? Be at once to imagine the way you want it to be and move into that. Check every thought, word, and action that does not fall into harmony with your higher vision. Move away from those. When you have a thought that is not in alignment with your higher vision of yourself, change to a new thought then and there. When you say a thing that is out of alignment with your grandest idea, make a note not to say something like that again. When you do a thing that is misaligned with your best intentions, decide to make that the last time and make it right with whomever was involved if you can. Stay true to your dreams. This will require tremendous mental and physical effort. It won't be easy. It will entail constant moment-to-moment monitoring of your every thought, word, and deed. It will continue to involve choice-making consciously. Like the whole process is a massive move to consciousness. What you will find if you undertake this challenge is that you have spent half your life unconscious. That is to say, unaware on a conscious level of what you are choosing in the way of thoughts, words, and deeds, until you experience the aftermath of them. Then, when you experience these results, you deny that your thoughts, words, and deeds had anything to do with them. And I want to remind you to dream big and continue to dream. And ask yourself, what dream or vision do you want to turn into reality? While always remembering, there is nothing you cannot be. There is nothing you cannot do. There is nothing you cannot have. Right, and that's my morning mantra, guys. Let me just pause this, and then I'll begin to get on to the subject. So I read that. That's borrowed from a few things. Some of it's the Bible, believe it or not. Some of it is a book by The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And a lot of it is from a company called Real Social Dynamics. And also a book called A Conversation with God. So yeah, I really get riled up from it. Right, and now we're going to move on to the subject of today's topic, which is setting yourself up for success. And number one, types of money. There's a couple of types of money. One is money that you exchange your time for. Money that you exchange your time for. Now, you don't want to be wasting that money because you have a finite amount of time. That is to say, we have an account that say has £1 million in it and it's going down. That's what time should be like, and you should see it like that. So you don't want to waste those resources, so to speak. So I want you to stop buying luxuries with money you exchange your time for. Why? Why do I want to stop you enjoying life? Absolutely not. I want you to invest every penny that you possibly can into things that make you money, be that a business, be that passive investments like crowdfunding, or maybe getting involved in property yourself, or FTSE funds, whatever the case may be. Because if you're living off funds that you exchange your time for, like your time as you get older, if it's a very physical job, for example, becomes less and less valuable because you'll be able to do less and less. Whereas if your time is an academic role and you get more experience, then maybe you can earn more, but you still only have a finite amount of time. So when you're exchanging your time for money, you have a ceiling on the amount of money that you can earn. There's a certain point where you won't be able to earn any more because you won't have enough time. So how can we circumnavigate that? Initially, no, we can't. So what you need to do is keep your expenses really, really low. And I mean, live frugally, live like Gandhi, live like Stig of the Dump, whatever you possibly can do, live frugally and invest every penny that you can, every available penny that you can, invest. Now, say you are able to save up £10,000 a year and you put that into a FTSE fund. Perhaps you get 8%, perhaps you get 6%. Let's say, for example, if you invest in a company, you get 8%. That's only £800. And initially, you might think, why the hell am I living such a desolate lifestyle for the sake of £800? In the beginning, it isn't that great. It's really, really, we all know this, like the first deal is hard. The first refurb is the hardest. The first investment is always the hardest because the power of momentum, like you're not pulling on the power of momentum yet. To get started is always the hardest thing. So say you £10,000, then the next year £20,000, you invest it. You get interest on the interest. What does that mean in layman terms? Like, go to a compound calculator and just put it in Google and just put £10,000. You put £10,000 away, put 8%, and do it for 10 years. So that's the power of compounding. So you get interest on the interest on the interest, and you'll see it when you put it into this compound calculator and how powerful that can be. Now, if you put those into businesses, into assets, into properties that continue to do this, eventually you'll reach a point, and you'll reach it faster if you live frugally. You'll reach a point where your expenses begin to get overtaken by the money that your money produces. So you've got the two types of money you exchange your time for, and the money that your money produces. So if you can get your expenses lower than the money that your money produces, you're essentially financially free, unless the income is tied to an asset class, for example. So to offset the risk, you can just continue to do this for a couple more years. And then what you do is you have your money that your money makes, as well as all the money that you're exchanging your time for, invest every single penny of that. So eventually you're not spending any money that you exchange your time for. You're investing every single penny. I'll use the same example, like this microphone here, the camera that you're watching now, these were expenses. I didn't go to a job, work in a role, and then buy these things. Like, this whole house is a complete luxury. I didn't exchange my time for this. What I did is I invested in things that created income. I lived frugally, and then the money that my money produced, I spent on various things that I wanted. And what happens is the ramifications of doing this over a longer period of time just get better and better and better. And as long as you keep your expenses underneath the amount of money that your money produces, that means you're always going to be financially free, and it keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And that's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, is because they're investing their money into money producing assets, money producing vehicles. And so it can be companies, it can be shares, it can be trading, it can be Forex, it can be individual people, it can be a whole plethora of things. But just start getting your money working for you. Don't let it sit in the bank. Like you're always going to be poor if you're constantly thinking you'll just get a better job. That's how I'll get richer. I'll just go back to education, get more skills, because there's still a ceiling. Even the £100,000 a year doctor or the £250,000 surgical specialist has a ceiling on the amount of money that he can earn because he's exchanging his time for that money. So there are the first two types of money. Then I want to talk about good debt and bad debt. So people will often buy cars on finance, for example. They'll spend money, they'll borrow money that they don't have. And so not only are they getting hit with the interest rate from borrowing money, they're also betting their future income that they're going to need to exchange time for to pay down the loan on a depreciating asset. When you see it that way, that should shock you into never ever even considering a purchase of a vehicle again. So especially on finance, you can only afford a vehicle, say if it's brand new 30 to 40k, as if you don't notice the money is going to be missing. Don't waste money on a car when you can just buy like £2,000 car that will do the same job. And that's the same for everything. Only buy luxuries with money that your money produces. Stop buying stuff that goes down on finance, because it's a double whammy and you're always going to be poor. And it's fine if you're not really wanting to become wealthy or really manage your wealth in such a way, then you don't need to. I'm not saying follow me. Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own journey. And some people just want to go out with a bang and leave a fat corpse. So the fourth type of money is good debt. And good debt is what I consider the vehicle that me personally, I'm going to use to get wealthy. And that is I borrow money to put into assets that make me money. So let me explain this. So say I borrow 8%. I'm then going to put this into stuff that makes me 40%. So I then make, say, 32% on the initial principal. So then I don't have to wait for my expenses to increase because I'm basically scaling up. However, I did do the first step first. I kept exchanging my time for money and putting that into investments over and over until I was able to flip it out. And then the money that my money produced now sustains me. And I'm scaling this up by borrowing money. You can borrow money from banks, for example, for 6.7%. For HSBC is a good loan that I've got. And I've put that into something that will make me about 42% per annum. So then it pays off the debt and I gain money that way. So in summary of the types of money, you have money you exchange your time for, money that your money produces, good debt and bad debt. And what you want to be doing is getting rid of the bad debt. That is debt. That's debt that makes you money, as well as the first two. Don't spend your time exchange money on luxuries. Invest every penny of that you can, and only buy luxuries with the money that your money produces. All right. Now we're going to move on to the next one, which is the importance of getting a mentor, no matter what industry that you're in. Why do I think that mentor is important? Because it will, if you get the right one, there are charlatans out there, don't get me wrong. So you have to do your due diligence. My mentor opened up all these avenues of investment for me. I paid him for the honor, 100%, but I certainly wouldn't be where I am now. And I continue to this day to call them up. There's a few that I'm involved with now because I don't just have one. Initially, I started with one and I followed all his material and then got to where I am. And now I'm diversifying in various industries. So get a mentor, depending on what industry that you want to be. You want to be a fitness guru, you want to have a fitness business, find somebody who is doing it already and just work for them for nothing. You want to get involved in property, find somebody who's smashing the property game and get involved with them. It works. They will show you, if you're enthusiastic and you help them and you turn it into a win-win, they will show you what to do and then you can go and implement it. It's not bad being the number 2 to the number 1 in the business in your local area. Don't think that's a bad thing either. Or being even the number 10 to the number 1 in your chosen area. Because just through surrounding yourself with these people and being in that network, you're winning. You're winning than the person who's going to college or university for 2-3 years, because you're with someone getting direct market education. That's what's slowly feeding back, because when you run a business, you have to give value to the market, right? You have to provide value, or else customers aren't going to buy from you. Customers aren't going to take your products. They're not going to take your rooms. You have to make sure your systems are in place to deal with repairs and deal with disputes. So if you get involved with the person who's already doing that, you're getting literally days old, real-time information about what the market needs and what the market is responding to. So get a mentor. And touching on mentor, another thing is you are the top 5 average of the person you spend the most time with. So say, for example, you look around and all your friends are fucking losers. You will be a loser. And who's to say who is a loser and who's a winner, right? We all have different measures of success. So for example, so for me, I'm trying to keep really fit and really, really sustain myself without the discipline of the military on top of me. And so I got an accountability group, and I'm slowly beginning to get all their habits, and they're all going to get mine. And that's because I've actively sought people who are better than me in certain areas, and I'll be able to help them in other areas. So surround yourself with the people that are going to help you, support you, cheer you on from the sideline, because there are going to be people in your social group and within your circle that will be those guys that, oh, you're so lucky, oh, you always catch a break, or that, you know, those type of people. And they're just, you need to get them out of your life. They will sap your enthusiasm, your absolute zest for life. You can't entertain that energy. It doesn't, like, why even bother those thoughts and have those within your culture? Just cut those people out. Find people who want to move up in the world, who want to better themselves, because really we shouldn't compare ourselves to other people. The only person that you need to be is you yesterday, and you're going to get better that 0.00001% each time. So make sure you have clear goals, you have people surrounding yourself that support those goals, and make sure they have their own goals, and you'll build this culture, this life that feeds into itself, and you'll have a really awesome time when you go on the journey of becoming a better version of yourself, because that's all this is. Right, let me pause this again. Now we're moving on to something that I wasn't applying myself, but it has truly revolutionized my lifestyle, my productivity, and the way that I conduct my business, and that is accountability. So I'm in a mentorship, right? And we meet up face-to-face once every 4 months, and we talk and discuss. And when I walk away from that meeting, I'm really fired up with enthusiasm. I want to go and buy Windsor Castle and bloody kick out the Queen and turn it into a HMO. Like my plans and ideas are fantastic when I walk away from those meetings, because I chat to other people and they're doing like dozens of deals and they're making hundreds of thousands of pounds. Like, people are dominating in the Northwest, people are dominating in the Northeast. And then I feel like, right, listen, they inspire me to do more. But that really quickly dies down. And I go to the meeting on Friday, walk out feeling like I'm the bloody God of War Saturday evening. And Sunday, I'm like, should I go to McDonald's or should I work? Like, the enthusiasm dies down really quickly. And I was trying to bridge that gap between the meetings. And so I set up this accountability meeting. And I can't take credit for how good it is, because it's the people collectively that make it so good. And we meet up once a week, and initially we set the bar really low for the goals, in the hope of drawing momentum, because like success brings on more success. It's like a snowball effect. The more you do, the more you want. The more you have, the more you need, etc. And my goals were really small initially, and it's still very early days, but I went from being a disorganized mess, still doing okay, but not really reaching my full potential, to living such a regimented life in terms of how I get up. I plan my days hour by hour, and that's all because of the accountability meeting. We meet up once a week. We discuss our goals. Some people get up at 5, go to the gym. Some people say, I'm going to deliver 2,000 leaflets a week. Some people say, right, I'm going to get 5 viewings this week. And we're hitting these goals consistently. And the goals are going to get more difficult as we pull on momentum. So my advice to you is get accountability. So, this top 5 average of the people who spend the most time with, maybe speak to a few people, set up accountability meeting in whatever like goal or industry that you want to be involved in. And hopefully the right people will find each other, and you can just dominate the space that you're involved in. And so number 4, accountability is a big one. And now number 5, for setting yourself up for success. It's the pull of momentum. So now, right now, you could turn this off. Most people have got many goals. You could turn this off and do something that would take that tiny little step towards the goal. The hardest thing is just starting and keeping that momentum up until it becomes a habit. You don't want to have dozens and dozens of goals initially because you're going to fail them all. So my advice for you is to use the power of momentum. Have a goal for a few weeks with your accountability meeting. Discuss the goal, and once it becomes a habit, drop the goal, because then you don't need to monitor it anymore because it's part of you. Like the disciplines that become so difficult in the beginning will become part of your philosophy. And for example, getting up and being ready for work for a certain time. Maybe like for now, I have a morning mantra that I shared with you that was pulled from various things that I liked. I meditate, I stretch. And this is all from this accountability meeting. I used to like get up at 10, go to some place at like 10:30, 11, do a bit of work, come back, play around on the laptop. I was really losing my edge in terms of how productive I was. And the accountability meeting has really brought it back. And the momentum that I'm gaining by setting the bar initially quite low in terms of goals, it's going to get harder and harder and harder and harder and harder, because success like inspires you to get more successful. So don't try and do everything all at once. Realize that momentum is a process, and that you only need to beat you yesterday. You don't need to beat the person next to you. You don't need to be inspired by people's successes, not intimidated by them. And have your bar really low initially from what you feel proud of. So for example, I've started running again, and there was a time where I could run 8K in 37 minutes, and that was like phenomenally fast. And now I'm doing 9 in a bloody hour. Like today, I did 9 in under an hour, which a year ago me would have been like, oh, that's awful. But today I'm really pleased with it, because I stopped running, I stopped doing everything, and now I'm slowly getting it back. So I'm using the power of momentum to really reward myself in terms of congratulating myself, telling everyone that I feel that I'm doing okay. Yes, Pav, you are in the 5 a.m. club. So Pavan is somebody who's in the accountability meeting, and he was telling me he was struggling to get up. He wasn't really having the fire. He went full-time into property, joined our accountability meeting, and then he and another member of the group get up at 5. He goes to the gym, and they're absolutely killing it. So for myself, week 1, I got up at like 3 times out of 7 on time and was ready for work. This week, it's 6 times out of 7. And soon it'll be 7 times out of 7. And I won't need to monitor it anymore, because it'll become a habit, and then I can move on to something else. So in summary, guys, regardless of what industry you are, like you think you have time, you think you can go do it tomorrow, but you don't. Like we never have enough time. There isn't enough of it. We need to stop wasting it. Like the only moment we really have is now, today, this very moment. So you need to plan and set yourself up for success. Know about the types of money and stop wasting it. Stop wasting your money. Stop exchanging your time for money and then wasting it on luxuries that you don't need. Start investing. Get a mentor. Get mentors. Mentor people, because that will solidify your knowledge. You are the top 5 average of the people you spend the most time with. Make sure they're people that help you, support you, and push you in the right direction. Accountability. No, nothing succeeds without accountability unless you've got rock hard discipline, like an ungodly amount of discipline. You'll get things done. Because winning at life, really, and being successful isn't the smartest person that wins. It's the person that gets shit done. It's the person that doesn't procrastinate as much. It's the person who turns up on time, does what they say they're going to do. It isn't the smart person. It's the producer. It's the most productive person. Get yourself an accountability meeting and realize the power of momentum. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This has been a good one for me. I would advise you to get the mantra. Borrow it from various sources, read different books. There's no point in reinventing the wheel. There's billions of minds out there, and somebody will have written it down somewhere. So you just find it and you add it to your mantra. You add it and you build that sort of thing that you tell yourself every day. And you turn this vision or dream into reality just by the small goals. You need to turn yourself into a collection of positive habits So in the future, when you position yourself and the opportunity comes, you're there to take it and you're not intimidated. If you want to know more about property and how we've gone from basically nothing, for me personally, I didn't put any of my money into any of these businesses, and now we're growing it. And this year we should tip the point of maybe getting £4 million worth of property from the humble beginnings of a Telford flat. I'd like to share my story with you, and perhaps you could maybe adopt some of these within your own life and then slowly build up a fund. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to make positive financial changes, invest in various things, and then potentially in the future, when you're in a position to do so, invest in our company and choose it as one of the vehicles to give you a passive income. Because that's what we do. We raise finance from investors. We show you from beginning to the end the process of how we source a deal, buy a deal, refurb a deal, get it let out, and you see idea formed into words, formed into action, formed into an end unit product that we sell to the market and make money from. So you get more knowledgeable, we are able to grow our company, and it's a win-win for all. Or alternatively, you find something else to put your money in, and you hold on to your wealth rather than wasting it. That would also be fantastic. If you've gained anything from this, do let me know. Or if you're interested, I can send you out a dossier of our next project. Or even if you're just curious, I'll send it out and you can see what we're about here at KML. All right, thank you. And if you want teaching as well, I'm going to share who my mentor is and who's changed my life in such a drastic direction. I wouldn't have anything of what I have now if it wasn't for these people. And that is the Wealth Dragons. I now coach for them to help them out. I help with refurbs. So Pavan, who's commented, I'm helping him with a HMO refurb that he's going on at the moment. Because they've helped me so much, I want to help them help more people, because that's how wealth works. You help loads of people and you'll get, the market will pay for it. You've got to have the confidence of what you have in here and what service or product you can provide, the market will pay.